Hello, Flosstube. My name is Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, and this is my Flosstube update number 271. Today is February 25th. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. 25th, 2023. And actually, February 28th is just around the corner, just a few days from now, but on Tuesday, as a matter of fact. The end of the month. I was talking to my sisters earlier, and it was like, February, it's not fair. It's always a short month. So that, 2 or 3 days seems to make a difference. It's February 20, almost the 28th, and I, for cross-stitch camp, the challenge is to finish whatever you choose by the end of the month. But because the project that I chose has a lot of stitches in it, I'm probably not going to finish it by the end of the month, especially because I have a couple other things I have to do. And so, it's just one of those things. Last year, I didn't hit my February WIPGO goals either, so I think they were a little ambitious at the time, and then, so anyway. So this is the channel about cross-stitch, if you didn't know already. And let's just go ahead and get into it. So I'm doing, I love to stitch, which is just stitching at least 30 minutes a day. It's easy to do that. And except one day, I guess last Saturday, I guess I had done whatever stitching, but I never took a picture of it to post. You're supposed to do 30 minutes a day and post a picture of your progress, and before and after pictures. And I just I don't know, was busy and tired, and it's, for some reason, it's very tiring. We stitched. We filmed our video, I think, on Friday. My sisters and I, the Three Sisters Creative Sticks and Strings video. I think we had filmed it on Friday that weekend. So I don't know what I did on Saturday besides my update and whatever else. I don't know what we did that day, if anything. But I was just, for some reason, I was really exhausted. And I just, never got around to posting my progress for that day. So, I let it go. But yeah, but I'm doing that I Love to Stitch challenge. And so far, that's the only day that I hadn't, posted anything or whatever. But I'm also doing Winter Cross Stitch Camp. And the challenge for that is that you stitch something that is part of a series, either a series you're already working on or a series that you want to start or whatever. And of course, you don't start the piece until the 1st of February, and you have, you're supposed to try to finish it by the end of the month. And so I was doing The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings, which is part of a series, A Year in the Woods, right? But it's a big piece. It's kind of a lot of stitching. It's only 100 by 130, which doesn't sound like a lot, but there's just a lot of stitches. And it's not full coverage, but it's what is there is very dense, I guess. So, it's kind of a challenge. But then also I'm doing WIPGO. So there are, 2 calls for that. And to make it extra hard on myself, I have not only the whips that are on WIPGO, my 2 whips on WIPGO, but also for each square I put in a new start, an unspecified new start, and a couple of my finished pieces to do FFOs on. So for this month I have just a lot to do. So I'm going to start actually now with my WIPGO pieces. Last week I talked about my WIPGO number 7, And Heaven and Nature Sing, and I think as of last Saturday, I had already reached my goal of 6 days stitching on that. And so my other WIPGO call, I had already done 2 days on it. So I just had the 4 days left. So I went ahead and just did them all at once. And this was Monster Wonder Whale by, let's see if I can say her name right, Galina Egorenkova of Owl Forest Embroidery. So it's this piece here. And this is just a photocopy of the kit, because that's where there's a good picture of the finished project on there. So my goal was 6 days, and I did basically everything up to here. This tall yellow, what do you want to call it, tree, and I did the sort of Quaker things on the whale up to there, and then I did some of these fish down here. I think these 6 fish, but not these other ones, I guess. And but there's still the waves under there. I did finish this boat, but I have these 2 boats and the sail on this boat, and then some more of these little Quaker things, and this guy, this tall green thing, everything back here except for the whale. So I still have that to go. So I don't know when I'm going to get back to that piece, but that's so here's where I am with that. So as you can see, that up above this little tree thing, there's that bird and one more of these little Quaker things, and there's also some red fruit or whatever on this green thing here. But everything on this end of it is done. From here to the front of the whale is done. And like I said, I've got some of these fish done, almost all of them. There's like, I think 2 more of the fish. And then there's more waves of water underneath. That's where you can see the cutouts on the boat there, where the waves go. And then there's a boat here and a boat here. Those are their little, pennant flags, like that one, that show where the boats go. And then this boat needs a sail and a pennant and all that. And I think there's some green in the middle of this design here. And there's one design that goes here, and then all the trees that go on the back here. So there's still quite a ways to go, but I did do a lot of that, just stuff on the front end. And I have a piece of thread left that from working on this, and so if I have time, I can finish that green, the green part of this tree, whatever you call it. And there's also a church that goes in here that I haven't done yet. So yeah, it's kind of a lot left, but if I can, I want to kind of finish the green here, just so I can finish that thread that's hanging off of there. We'll see. So that's Monster Wonder Whale. That's one of my WIPGO calls. My second WIPGO call, because the number 7 I already finished. So for cross stitch camp, I've been doing The Fox by Vinniey PS10 of Cottage Garden Samplings. Such a pretty design. So again, I have almost everything on this side of the fox done. I have to do this tree here, and have to finish these stars and snowflakes or whatever they are. And then everything from here over still has to be done. And most of the fox, I have some of it done and some of it not done. So, and I am adding a little border because I'm going to do the number 2 design. I want to say it's the swans is number 2. But I want to do that on this same piece of fabric along with the fox. So I have this large piece of fabric, and I think it's 32 count. I've been going back and forth. It's 28. No, it's 32. No, it's 28. So yeah, this one that that the whale is on. This was again part of a kit that came with all these threads done by the Alforce Embroidery, and this piece of fabric, which is 32 count, I believe. Yeah, and came with the kit also. So I think all the pieces that I'm working on right now, this one and Catoween Cal is the other one, and I think they're all on 32 count fabric. I think. But somehow the stitches on this and on the Monster Wonder Whale don't seem to be as tiny as they are on Catoween Cal for some reason. I think to some degree it could be that, the dye, makes the fabric a little tighter, makes them a little, the holes a little tighter, maybe. But they don't seem that way, and yet the stitches seem tinier to me when I'm working on them. I don't know. But like I said, I think this is 32 count. But so, like I said, I came up with this. This is just my corner marker, but I came up with this border, just a simple, border to delineate the 2 pieces. So I have to continue that on, to finish off to mark off the square. But so yeah, I did add a little more to the fox. He looks less like a alien, creature than he did before. But so like I said, there's one more tree that goes right here. Here. I did finish the cabin. And I've got all these little snowflakes or whatever they are. And I found a skein of 414 I happen to have. So I need to use that to finish here. And then I'm working on this burnt orange, I think it's Classic Colorworks. But I did all of his, all except the black that goes, on the ears and the eyes and the nose. And then in this area is more of this lighter orange, which is a DMC color. And then the tail and all that stuff. There's, and then the paws are black also, so those still need to be done. But and I do want to get the black in there just because, to give it a little more finished look. You can see the face better and see the feet. And there's some that goes here, on the edge of the tail. Black and brown on there, dark brown. Yeah, so this, darker 414 color is in there. But it's really pretty. Really good, really interesting, pretty design work on there. So, yeah, so this one still has a long way to go, and I'm not going to finish it by the 28th. But I made pretty good progress on it. Just stitching on it just in one day, 2 days, something like that. So, yeah. So, like I said, I probably won't have time to finish it by the 28th. Especially because Tuesday, the 28th, a Bible study in the morning, which takes a couple of hours, and then I have a concert that night. So that takes some time as well. So, and I have a few hours in between, but, I have to, I'm eating lunch and preparing for the concert and all that. So that's kind of, narrows up the slot. So, I have time to stitch on that day, but but I don't know that I'll have, significant time. And somewhere in there between today and the 28th, sorry, my throat's a little dry. I have to complete my WIPGO challenges. I have some finishing to do, so that's squeezed in there. But as speaking of WIPGO, part of my WIPGO is new starts. So the fox, well, like I said, sort of was helping me kill a few birds with one stone. But so that was one of my new starts for in WIPGO for cross-stitch cam. And the other new start was Catoween Cow by Stitching with the Housewives. And this is an older pattern. I want to say, I don't know what it says. I don't think it has the year on here. Yeah, I don't see the year on here. This is PDF. I may have the year on the other page with the pattern on it. I don't know. But there's Catoween Cow down there. And I started, I guess in the middle, I did the pumpkin. I haven't done the pumpkin stem right here. But I did the pumpkin, and I'm working on this little t-shirt. And that's really all I've gotten done. But, that's my new start. I did it last Saturday and today while we were doing our sticks and strings video, because it's very easy stitching. It's just that it's hard to see. So there's this little t-shirt. So I got just a couple more. I think I was at one little armpit or whatever. But so I'm kind of in the middle of this, and then white stripes on his pants and all that. So one of the reasons I would like to finish this, although I don't think I can, is that also on my WIPGO board I have FFOs for each month for each block, and I have a couple of those. Some more Stitching with the Housewives. On one of them, I put both of them on there on the one block because they're related, and because I don't have a whole lot of Halloween stuff, so I wanted to do them both. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Just excuse me. Sorry, one sneeze in there before I hit the pause button. So anyway, I have this one, pumpkin pile, and so it's not very big. A little bit bigger than that. I'm folding it badly, but you get the idea. It's not very big. And then that's pumpkin pile. I think that was a freebie, or either you got it with free with the purchase of something else, or it was a freebie by itself. I don't remember. But this one, Ghoul's Garland, was another one. So again, these are not very big. And then Catoween Cow, which is not very big either. So on 28 count, the finished size is 3x4, but this is 32 count. So it's a little bit smaller, but not much. But so I haven't done any exact measurements yet to see, and how the finishing size and all that. But I was trying to see if I had something on which to finish them. And I mentioned the little shutter thing, but the sides, the two sides, seemed a little narrow for these. It would have been a tight fit, and I didn't want to be constrained by that. So I was out looking out in the garage, looking at all my finishing things, because I always see something that'd be good to finish something on. Oh, that'd be good to finish something on. And I'm especially a sucker for either Hobby Lobby with their unfinished wood products, and I found some of those, and I was out in the garage today looking at all that, but also the Dollar Spot at Target, because they always have stuff seasonally, and whatever holiday or celebration is coming up, they have stuff related to that. Like they did have some Valentine's stuff, but now it's all Easter things. Easter and spring and whatever. So, but anyway, so some time ago, I bought this tombstone. It's a chalkboard thing. It's got a little hanger thing on there, and there's a piece of chalk, but you know, you don't have to have. I don't have to use that if I want to. But I like this tombstone, so I'm thinking, you know, if I put 1, 2, 3 of these things on there, that would be appropriate. That's kind of Halloweenish. And the other thing, if I decide not to use that, the other thing I have is this cauldron. It's metal, little cauldron thing. Those are, I could also put those on there. So yeah, I could do Priscilla's little magnet, you know, trick, and that would. Haven't tested this metal to see if it's magnetic, but I imagine that it is. But anyway, yeah. So there's, you know, this little cauldron and the chalkboard thing. So either one would work, I think, for finishing that. And the other item to be finished is this little Squirrel's Night Out pendant. I think I showed it before. But it does call for cording. So I have the little Kreinik cording tool. And I've been watching Lana Pfeiffer's tutorial, and you know, like I've made cording before, but I've made it with, you know, 2 colors. And so I'm trying to get it straight in my head, the single color, you know, method. And I think I know. I was talking to my sister about it, and I think I understand it. Just like my brain doesn't want to work that way. But anyway, so the size of this is, it's like 2.5 by 3.5, or 1.5 by 2.5, I think. Sorry, 1.5 by 2.5. You know, you cut it down to size here. And so it's a little squirrel with his Halloween bucket and his Halloween hat. And then it, the pattern comes with a wooden little tag thing to finish it on, and then this sort of wood rat tail kind of string to hang the pendant on. But letting you put the cording around it, you know, you finish it on like a, the instructions call for like finishing it on cardboard and putting like a piece of batting or something underneath it to make it a little puffy. And so, you know, see how if I want to do that, but then you put the cording around it and then mount it on that little wooden tag. So there's already a finishing idea for that, you know. So I think that's probably what I'm going to go with. I may make a slight variation on that. I don't know yet, but that's my my plan for those items. So at one point I have to do that to finish those things. And that's why, one reason why I wanted to finish Catoween Cal if I could, but I don't know that I have time to finish him. But I'll leave a space for him for those along with the other Halloween items. So yeah. So like I said, I went outside. Because all my finishing stuff is out there. I had, before my dad passed away, I had taken it upon myself, because I had like all these plastic bags from Target or Hobby Lobby or whatever that had all these items that I, you know, had thought, oh, that's a good finishing item. Oh, that's a good finishing item. And I would, you know, whenever I saw something, I would snatch it up. And so I just had bags and bags out there, and they were like in a big, you know, just to make a mess in the garage. And so we had these plastic tubs that my parents brought from Albuquerque when they came out here. And there was just a bunch of empty tubs out there, you know, just a stack of them. So I put all my finishing stuff in some of them, trying to make, my area, trying to make it a lot nice, neater little area. But then we had to have a new garage door placed. And so the guy said, well, I just need to be able to get up to a certain point, in the garage. We need access to that. So we ended up, putting everything in the back of the garage. And so, my dad wanted to move everything out there. And so all my finishing stuff kind of got buried in the corner behind all the stuff from the front end of the garage, whatever. And so it's been a little hard for me to get at. So some of it I could get at, but it was like, is this my tub or is this my sister's tub with the other stuff that or whatever that was or my parents' things, whatever that was in the garage. I don't even know what's in. There's a couple of other tubs in there that they don't belong to me, so I don't know what which. And I couldn't tell which one is which. But so I thought, well, I want to get out there now to see if I have something that'll work for the Halloween Stitch Away the Housewives things. To see something that'll give me an idea, or that'll work for them, or whatever. And so, because I didn't want to buy something else if I already had stuff out there that I could use. So I finally, today I was going out there, going through all that stuff, and I just, went out in my bare feet. I didn't really think too much of it, but by the time I got in, my feet were freezing from the garage floor, but I was sweating buckets. My head was all sweaty from moving these big tubs around, and my wrist. One of them, for some reason, I couldn't get the lid, with the right angle or whatever. I couldn't get the lid off. And so my wrist hurts right here from wrestling with that lid. But so Father's like, oh yeah, I remember this. And, found some things that I can use. So I finally went through all that stuff and sort of, rearranged it a little bit so I could get at it more easily. But anyway, so hopefully I can make one of those two items work for my Halloween stuff. And the other thing I want to talk about was last Saturday, I think I had mentioned that my sister and I were going to, excuse me, I don't know why I'm so thirsty, going to a Galentine's event at our church, and what they were going to do is have a sort of a painting party kind of thing, where you go and there was a woman there was directing us on how to paint. She had a couple of sample paintings up there and said so if you wanted to do what something similar to what she was doing, she told you the steps to go through to achieve that, and then she's if you don't necessarily want to do that, you can do whatever you want to do. So I have recently I had seen a post of what do you call it, a sea slug. It has some Latin name or whatever, but I think they're found primarily, I want to say, in shallow water, like in Japan, in the Japan area, or somewhere around Asia maybe, but they are sea slugs, so they're animals basically, but they eat algae, and they eat so much algae that they are able to do like photosynthesis like a plant. But they look like sheep or cows or whatever, but they look like animals. So this is a sea slug. So you can see it's got the little got the little kind of branches, if you will. I'm turning, there's a lot of glare there. and it's got like a little sheep face, and these little, I don't know if they look like horns or antenna. I think they're antenna. You can see it down here. You know, they look a little bit more like horns. Oops. But they have, you know, black spots like eyes, and they have these little pink spots that look like a nose. And so I had seen, you know, like I said, I was kind of fascinated by that idea, and so that's what I painted. And it's not a very, you know, spectacular painting because I'm not a very spectacular painter, but yeah, I made little sea slugs. I would have made just one if I made it bigger, but I tend to make things very miniature. So yeah, I made more of them because I had a big canvas. So yeah. So I made little sea cows, sea sheep, whatever. So they're there. So anyway, so tomorrow is the 25th. Tomorrow is the 25th? No, today's the 25th. So for WIPGO, Jess Marie should be choosing the numbers. If she hasn't already, I haven't seen numbers for March yet. But they could be out there already. I don't know. But so come March 1st, I'll be starting new projects for WIPGO, and we'll see what comes up next time. I thought by now I was going to check the numbers, and I didn't check to see if she had announced numbers for March yet. Let me look real quick here. No. Oh, here it is. Here we go. For the numbers are 22 and 2. So, let me look at my WIPGO real quick. My WIPGO board. So, 22. Oh, that'd be fun. The FFO item is 4 Fat Friends, which I do not have here in front of me. It's I want to say it's a freebie from somebody very famous. And then Not Everything Counts. That's a weird little it's a new design that I designed for my my brother-in-law. And the quote is something like, "Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted." Something like that. I may be saying it backwards, but it's a phrase that he liked, that I had come up with a design for, and I'm going to see if I have it here handy. But so that's one of the ones that has come up in my WIPGO now. I don't seem to have it handy. I don't know. And then of course a new start, which I haven't decided yet. And then number 2 is the Gray Wolf. I've worked on that before. This one here, this Gray Wolf down here. And Eeyore and the Bees, which is another what's that, friends? Actually, let me see if I've got these here. Eeyore and the Bees is a Walt Disney, a Disney design that I guess has been around quite a while, and they've used that in a few different permutations. Here's Full Fat Friends. This is just the pattern only, so I don't want to show it. But it is by The Drawn Thread. That's who it is. I knew it was somebody famous. But it's a freebie from The Drawn Thread for Fat Friends. It's 4 fat birdies and a big tree. So I worked on that some time ago. But yeah. And like I said, the Eeyore and the Bees thing, Disney put that out in different collections or whatever. But like I said, they've used it several times, just in different configurations, different. Let's see if I've got that somewhere here. I know I have him in here somewhere. Excuse me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Here he is. Eeyore and Bees. So I have this one to finish. It's one of my FFOs. And 4 Fat Friends. Put these aside here. So yeah. Along with, like I said, Gray Wolf and what did I say the other one was? Oh, Not Everything Counts, whatever. So yeah, be working on that. I probably have the finished picture with the pattern, because I don't seem to have it here. I have a little thing that has all my like I said, the pictures of the the finished pictures or whatever of all of these patterns. And I don't seem to have a copy of that Not Everything Counts pattern. But that's the other thing that has come up with my WIPGO calls. So, oh, here it is. It's not a great pattern. It's hard to see on this copy because it's in, these little black feet. There's sheep here, but it's white on white, so it doesn't show up. So there's a little peacock and the sheep, and it says, yeah, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. It's a quote by W.B. Cameron. But yeah, so that's the other item. That's the other call, along with that Gray Wolf is called. So I have my work cut out for me for March now, but February isn't over yet, so I still have a few more days to work on those items. Yeah. So the 4 Fat Friends and the Eeyore and the Bees are the finishing items that I have for March. Anyway, so put together all my things to prepare for that for March, as well as, you know, spend the next few days doing what I can to finish the items that I have left. At least, you know, I have to do the FFOs for those items, and then spend whatever time I have doing the fox. And Catoween cow, you know, I don't have to finish that. It was just on my new start list. I just wanted to finish it so that I could FFO it along with the other Halloween items. But, you know, that's extra, I guess. Oh, I don't know why I'm so thirsty. My throat is dry. So, okay, I think that's it for today. The end of February. All my my February things, and preparing for March, and that is that's it, I think. So I will see you next week. It'll be March. It'll be a whole new set of projects and things to do. So I will see you then. And until then, you know, enjoy your stitching, keep on, you know, doing all those things. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.